Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy. And
we've had a few technical demons this evening, it's fair to say. But here we are recording a podcast for you on a Friday night.
We've gotten pretty used to the Fridays. Wednesdays is long gone. That was good for about 2 years. I don't even know the last time we recorded on a Wednesday.
Well, I practice with the band on a Wednesday, so it makes it tricky. And we typically always practice every Wednesday. So we've been very flexible and versatile with our recording nights. I mean, we've done in the daytime, we've done weekends. I mean, we're all over the place. We have busy lives and schedules, Joy.
Well, the other thing is it does help that since we do this via Zoom, it's not very complicated for me and Tim to get to where we need to go to do this. It's the office in my house.
Yeah, I walk up the stairs into the spare bedroom, office, music room, broadcasting suite, whatever you want to call it.
This is Joy's work office. There's a VR headset over there. The head to Charlie's clown is on the ground over there. For those who don't know, it's an animatronic clown. If you've been on any of the Freak Jam lives, that probably makes sense to you. Otherwise, you're probably lost. But anyway, well, I think Tim has a little bit of music news he wants to start us off with.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was sad news this week. So first things first, who knew that Motley Crue or Vince Neil from Motley Crue owned a private jet? I mean, does he have enough money to fund a private jet?
Maybe he's like, his name's on a lot of things behind the scenes we didn't realize.
Yeah, it's very, very bizarre. But anyhow, this jet that was owned by Vince Neil from Motley Crue, it veered off the runway when it was landing. It had a failure of the landing gear and it crashed into another aircraft. And unfortunately, it killed one of the pilots. I mean, it's terrible.
Wow. I know. And when I saw Motley Crue pop up, I was like, oh, gosh. And then I started reading. I mean, to be fair, Tim, planes are looking pretty rough right now. So it's kind of hard out there. Though we all know they're still the safest way to travel. You have to think about how many planes are going up every day versus how many cars. You know what I mean, Tim? I know statistically they're very safe, but there's been a lot of talk right now around that. But I was sad to hear that as well. And it did catch my attention that it was a private plane.
Yeah, that was owned by Vince Neil from Motley Crue. I mean, the gentleman who we lost, who was the pilot, was an older chap. He was a very distinguished pilot. Was an Air Force veteran, I believe. I mean, he'd been a pilot for many years. But I mean, very sad that he passed in that way. But like I said, what other rock stars have? I mean, let's say what other rock stars have private jets
from the 80s and like their time
from that
frame.
era. It's just like, are you bringing in enough cash to warrant having your own private jet?
Makes you wonder, like, how many of their names are behind like different things and things of that nature. You know what I mean, Tim? Like, how are they putting on like band shows and stuff? We don't know. Yeah, it's a small world.
But there we are. I know that you can buy credits for private jets. There's a system where you don't own a private jet, but you can buy miles on private jets. So
it's almost like leasing it in a way.
It's like a leasing type thing, but you buy it by the mile. So you can book a trip and then you can buy a bank of 10,000 miles, and that's good for as many trips as you want within that amount. Quite why I know that, I don't know, but I read it somewhere.
What happens if I'm 10? What happens if I'm at 9,000 and I need 2 more thousand to get to my destination? Are they just going to take me to the nearest location and be like, you're on your own?
I've never been in a position to fly on a private jet, so I have no idea.
Really, Tim? I thought that's how you got to work every day.
I mean, that would be my preference. I mean, it's a solid 14 minutes in my car. I mean, if I could land at Virginia Tech Airport, it would reduce my commute by about 3 minutes, probably.
And then you'd have to find a way to get from Virginia Tech airport.
Yeah, by the
to
time
work.
you've done that, it would be pointless. But
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You'd probably do better just to take the bus.
probably quicker just to walk it. In all honesty,
Probably, especially considering, and I'm trying to. I kind of want the world to last a little bit longer, so maybe not all the emissions for 15-minute flights are a good idea.
there we go.
Just like a smidge longer, Tim. We need to keep going just a little bit longer. But anyway, all right. So I have a bit of music news, and I did warn Tim I'm gonna have to be on my best behavior for this. And if you know me, shout out Phil, Brandy, anybody listening to this, you know this is gonna be a hard one for me to not make comments. Apparently, there is a music festival coming out this summer. It's gonna be in Washington. It's called the Summer of '99. Guess who the headliners are, Tim?
Is it like Blink 182 or Nickelback or something like that?
Nickelback and Creed.
Yes.
And Creed. And then Three Dog Night. No, Three Dog Sound, Daughtry, Lit, which I do like Lit, but I only know like two of their songs. They were basically one-hit wonders, to be honest. Are also going to be there. So basically, this is apparently some type of callback to an event that happened where Creed played there. It's 25 years since they played in 2000, the same festival. Where's the city and state? Hang on. I know it's in Washington. It's in East Troy, Wisconsin. I lied to you guys. I thought it was Washington.
Okay.
It does say Seven Dust Hinder, Vertical Horizon. Now, Charlie likes Vertical Horizon. I will say that. Fuel, and then I don't know much about Our Lady Peace or Tonic. I don't know, but they're going to be there. Tickets are now on sale. If that is right up your alley, it's going to be July 18th and 19th. And there is a discount going on right now. If you use the code Summer of '99, like literally type those words, it's supposed to give you some type of discount at Creed.com.
There we are. Well, I'm sure you're excited. Maybe even planning a trip out west to see Nickelback and Creed.
Yeah, I will totally be doing that on my private plane that doesn't exist.
Well,
How many miles do I need, Tim, to purchase that?
I will lend you 5,000 miles from my miles bank. How's that?
Yes, because you obviously know that. All right. So it is my episode, and I am doing something a little bit different. And I warned Tim before we started, I'm going to give him a challenge to do this same thing. And it's a very generic thing, but I think it will produce funny results and probably stupid conversations and yada, yada. So with that, and I say stupid liberally, guys. I don't actually mean they're stupid, just weird things me and Tim say off the top of my head. We talk how much we love about the Spotifys. We have discussed the Spotifys quite a bit. Well, I recently learned, you can see every one of your recent plays, everything you've recently played in the last week.
Yes.
So I have about, I don't know, I listen to Spotify every day, so probably hundreds on my recent list. And I just wanted to go through some of them because I think I have created a perception of what I listen to, and I'm not sure it's 100% accurate. I mean, there are some things on here that were played at CVS probably 2 minutes ago. But I'm just going to have Tim, I've got them all numbered out. I labeled them all pretty. I'm going to have Tim guess numbers between 1 and 100, and we're going to discuss what I have been listening to this week.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to find this information out. I mean,
I know everybody's been screaming to know.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm looking forward to doing this too. And we'll do it in a few episodes' time. Because as you know, I've been ingesting my classic digital collection of my computer into Spotify, artist by artist, and enjoying them. So there's quite a lot of eclectic picks from my perspective. But, I think once and for all, we need to really work out that you are not just listening to the music that's played in your average CVS.
Well, I also think that, to be fair, we do a podcast and our Spotify in-year raps might not be the most accurate because mine was infiltrated by podcasts. It was infiltrated by things I listen to at night when I'm asleep. Tim's is infiltrated by things he presses play on that he might not normally listen to at gigs and things. So, I wanted to give you guys a little bit more fair. And these were songs I know I listened. Now, one of them, the very first one, I did not play that song. I will say, if Tim picks this one, I skip this song every time it comes up because I like to go to other people's playlists, Tim, to learn new music. And so I skipped this song 3 times today. And I kid you not, it came back every time. If that's one of the ones you pick, I'm going to crack up because I'm going to be like, nope, that's not it. All right. Well, Tim, give me a number between 1 and 100.
Okay, I'm going to take number 53.
Number 53. So This is Keep Your Hands to Yourself, the Georgia Satellites. I'm assuming you're familiar with the song, Tim.
Yes, I have played this song in bands before now. We used to play it in Whiskey River. It's a classic 3-chord, 12-bar type thing. It's what they call a floor filler.
It definitely is. And it plays into this. It is, I guess, they label it in Spotify as rock music, but I mean, it really is more country rock, I guess you would say. And I actually I don't know, I have weird things where sometimes I want to hear this song and sometimes I skip right past it because of the sound of the guys, the no huggy, that like country sound to the guy's voice that's singing. Sometimes I want to hear that and sometimes I don't. But I think of this song, the reason this song sticks out to me is because when I was younger and I used to go, so when I would go roller skating, if nobody played anything, there was like a set of like default songs that would play on on the jukebox. And this was one of them. And so this song I probably heard every day for like 27,000 years of my life, it feels like. I know I'm 27,000 years old, whatever. But it's one of those songs. So that's probably also why I skipped past it. But it came on today and I actually listened to it for once. So there you go, everybody.
Fantastic. I mean, is that something that you seek out or is it in the playlist somewhere? Where are you finding that?
That was probably one of the other playlists that I like to like go into other people's profiles, like my friends and stuff, and scope out what they're listening to. And I like when they share playlists. And I think I ended up on one that was like upbeat something, put you in a good mood type playlist, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, there we are. I don't believe that we're Spotify friends. Maybe I need to add you on there.
You probably should, Tim. Now I will say, only person, I think I only have 2 friends on there. I think one of them's Brandy, and then one of them is Sean from Sean. Is his name Sean from
Free Jam?
Free Jam? Yes, he's the only other friend I have. We never interacted with him, but like. So I've added those. They've added me. Now I've added quite a few people, if that makes sense, because I've got my friend Molly and different. And then I like to go to strangers' playlists and just look around. I'm just nosy. See if they know something good that I don't know.
There we are.
All right, pick another number.
Okay, I'm going to go for 74, which is a great year, by the way.
I think there might be some biases in that. Anyway, so my pick was 74 is Give Up the Funk, aka Tear the Roof Off the House. Parliament and George Carlin? What's his name?
Clinton.
I'm like, Carlin's Joy. George, that's the comedian Joy. George Clinton, which I love this song, Tim. And I have a very distinct Glee story about this.
Of course you would. Everything comes back to Glee at the end of the day.
My question, though, Tim, is how do you feel about the song before I tell my Glee story?
This is an absolutely fantastic song. And George Clinton was not in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and didn't do a bit about 7 dirty words on TV. So it's a very different person. George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic is a really, really good time. When you listen to that is good music.
To be fair, Tim is all correct, but I still have the comedian's poster on my wall, so maybe that's what it's in my
that could be why. It's fresh in your mind.
I have the one that's like all the things you can't say on TV, Tim, the list.
Yes.
It's up on my wall downstairs. But anyway, so for me, I always think about, they did an episode. So one of the things that we do on Glee is each episode would have like a topic, right? And the idea was the Glee Club was trying to learn different music and different styles and different, things. And the episode was funk. That was the theme. And so they went through back and forth trying to define what's funk and what isn't. And at one point they did, somebody did... what is that band? The guy from the 90s who did MC Hammer. Somebody tried to claim that was funk, and everybody's like, that's not funk. Like, that's not funk. But then somebody kind of went into the soul realm, and they did like James Brown, and they're like, it's kind of funk, but it's more soul. And they, at the end, they finally came that the ultimate funk song they could come up with. And the reason they were trying to find a funk song was the people they were competing against in the competitions were like robots. And so they wanted something that had soul, because they said that's the one thing they can't do. They don't have souls because they were so good on stage, but it was very robotic. And this was the song they came up with, was Give Up the Funk. And they did a really good job of it. It was actually really good to watch. And they ended up winning. So there you go. Because the robots didn't have any soul, Tim.
The robots never have soul, Joy. That is a problem going forward.
It is. I mean, this was pre-AI in the sense, I mean, there probably was AI, of course, but the current modern day AI states, but I don't know if AI could give up the funk. But to be fair, it is literally, if you can put that song on and like, we got a real, like, doesn't like, I don't know, it is a great song. Like, it ranks up there probably in one of my top, I don't know, top 50 favorites. If that surprises you, I don't know, Tim.
Well, it's maybe the top 74 favorite.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or it just happened to be playing on my Spotify this week. All right, what's next, Tim? Pick me another number.
Okay, to use bingo calling language, Kelly's Eye, number 2.
Kelly's Eye, number 2.
Have you never done UK bingo?
Not. No. You guys have different bingo?
Yeah. So US bingo has a square card and it says BINGO on the top. And they'll say B2, I12. Well, we don't have that. The bingo cards are sort of twice the size of a credit card, I suppose, maybe a little bit bigger. They're long.
Uh-huh.
And they have the numbers printed on there with some blanks, and they don't have letters across the top. But if you go to a proper bingo hall, they won't do this. If you go to some kind of bingo affair that's at a seaside resort, they have like funny things they say with the numbers.
Oh.
Like 77 Sunset Strip. Kelly's Eye, number 2.
So now I have to wonder, do many other countries have different versions of bingo? Is this like a thing?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I was surprised.
Never even.
I was surprised when I came here and went to a Moose Lodge and saw a bingo session being bingoed that the bingo cards looked different and they didn't have funny things they said when the numbers were called out.
Because I mean, I felt. Okay, hold on. When was bingo invented? We got it. I'll give you number 2 in a minute. I'm Google when boot. Like I have so many questions now.
If you Google UK bingo card, you'll see it looks different.
Okay, so there's the American version. Let me do the UK version. Bingo UK card. Oh, I have seen. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's just numbers.
Yeah, it doesn't have
but
the
it is different.
bingo across the top.
In the United States and Canada, bingo is a game. So apparently Canada has the same bingo as America, guys.
Okay.
The game of chance named Lotto was played in Italy in 1530. That's apparently where it started. I mean, Lotto makes sense. In the 18th century, a home version called Tobola, I don't know, was created in Naples with additional cards, tokens, and calling out numbers. In the 19th century, a game like this was widely played in Germany to teach children spelling, animal names, and multiplication tables.
There we are.
And the French game is called Le Lotto. That's not even a joke. That's true.
And in England, you say 2 little ducks, 22.
Okay. That's so. I don't know what I thought when you said that, but I was like, am I supposed to know what that means? I was like, who's Kelly? And what about her eye? Kelly, if you're listening, I don't know why Tim's obsessed with your eye. All right, number 2 on the list is Tell Her About It by Billy Joel.
Yeah, classic song. This has got like a Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons sort of feel about it, or maybe like a Motown swing sort of feel to it. But the interesting thing about Billy Joel is when he writes songs, he never writes them for him. He writes them as if he was writing them for someone else. Classic example is like the song Big Shot. He wrote that for Mick Jagger.
That's a very interesting concept because for me, as someone who can't write music, I that doesn't even register. I will say I'm a huge fan of him. I refused to pay for when he went on his last tour because it was astronomical. I don't remember what the prices we said for Madison Square Garden was, but
it was absolutely absurd. As we've said many times before, concert prices are ridiculous and are completely out of hand at this point. But I mean, yeah, you want to see a legend like Billy Joel, but I'm not going to pay $700, $800, $900 for a ticket, especially when that ticket is the worst ticket in the house.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be sitting in the lawn, like all the way in the back. I have to bring my own chair.
But it's not just music concerts. So as you know, I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And I really have no interest in modern day WWF, WWE, whatever it's called. I dip in, but it's not anything I'm really interested in. I like the classic 80s stuff. But WrestleMania is coming up. And I
Is it
think it's
super stupid?
yeah, it's being held
Expensive?
in Vegas. They do it over 2 nights. And I was just curious, what a ticket would set you back for WrestleMania. So the general tickets where they're a little bit way out and they're not on the floor, you're looking at $300 a pop, which is expensive, which is very expensive. It's more than I paid for my Metallica tickets, but it's expensive. And then I thought, well, I wonder what ringside costs. So I looked at
Yeah.
ringside. It's $6,000 for ringside.
Jesus. Look, I could go to Europe and come back for that much money, Tim.
Yeah, rather
Why
than
would I
what
spend that on one? I don't
event.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I'm going to spend that much money, I want it to be more of like you know what I mean? Like I go visit Italy for a week or something, not that.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you was at WrestleMania 3 at the Pontiac Silverdome when it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, you probably paid the equivalent of about $100 for that.
I know it's crazy if you go online and Google like tickets from like ticket stubs from back in the day, from just like even from I say back in the day, but I mean I'm talking about like the 70s and the 80s, and you can just see the price difference. Thank you, Ticketmaster. But
Yeah.
anyway, fight the power. Anyway, what's next, Tim?
Okay, well, let me give you a different number. Let's have 99, as in the ice cream cone.
All right. This is Soul Man by the Blues Brothers, the live version. The live version. I just want everybody to know. It's very important to me that that's there. Now, if you do not know, I'm a huge Blues Brothers fan.
Yeah, which live concert does it come from? Is it the Bag Full of Blues album?
Yep, you are correct, sir. I had to run my mouse over it to make sure, but yes, I love that version, and I mean, I love every version of the Blues Brothers, but I absolutely love all their music. I listen to all their albums. That movie plays rent free in my head all the time, and it is just a classic. If you've never seen the Blues Brothers, and you don't have to like movies, just the music alone in it is so good, and you've got so many different diverse artists that are in that movie. The original, the very first one is the OG Blues Brothers, just straight. And I'm assuming Tim's seen the Blues Brothers movie, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the film The Blues Brothers, but yes, I have seen the film The Blues Brothers. And the song that you're talking about, the concert that it comes from, I believe it is effectively the Saturday Night Live band who are playing it, and that includes musical genius and keyboard player Paul Schaefer. Paul Schaefer being the keyboard player and band leader of the CBS Orchestra and/or World's Most Dangerous Band, which was David Letterman's band.
Well, and then you've got who is it in the movie? The saxophone player. There's like quite a few of the musicians that are the backbone of the band that are just notoriously known.
The saxophone player in the Blues Brothers is Tom Bones Malone, and Tom Bones
that's
Malone,
his name.
He was in the CBS Orchestra, World's Most Dangerous Band as well.
And then you got like the guitar player who's like Smoking John Trappa, whatever it is. There's one guy named Red. I mean, I just love the movie. And then like the scene where like Aretha Franklin, you've got Ray Charles, you got John Lee Hooker, like so many people in like a movie that, I mean, I think it was popular, but I think it is still, it's not, I mean, I would say it's mainstream, but I don't feel like it's played that often. But that's what sells it for me. Cab Calloway, like just hundreds of musicians. The movie would have not been near that interesting about two guys basically running from the police without all that music in it.
No, and you know the interesting thing is that you said that was a big film in England, and lots of musician friends of mine would have seen it, and it was a thing, and it still remains to be a thing. But I will tell you that almost everybody in the UK who likes the Blues Brothers would have no idea that it came from a Saturday Night Live sketch.
That's interesting. I assume we all know that, but you can't always assume.
And Wayne's World the same. Wayne's World was a huge thing in England, but nobody would really know that came from Saturday Night Live because Saturday Night Live may have been shown on BBC Two or Channel 4 late at night or something, but it wasn't a cultural thing.
Well, that reminds me. I thought about talking about it when we were doing our opening kind of news thing, but it's not necessarily music, though I think there were some music. Saturday Night Live this past weekend did their 25-year anniversary, and it was like a whole live thing for like an hour. They had musicians, all kinds of stuff. I need to go back and watch it, but I haven't went down. They said they revisited a lot of their old sketches in it.
Yeah, I think it was actually 50 years of
that makes
50
more
years
sense.
of Saturday Night Live. The problem with Saturday Night Live for me, I tried to watch some of the programming that's up on Peacock. Now I have Peacock because they have WWF wrestling. It's the only reason I subscribe to it. And if that ever goes off Peacock, I will stop subscribing to it because there's not really anything much else that interests me. But there have been lots of programming for Saturday Night Live, music and otherwise, around this 50th anniversary. And for me, this is just for me, it doesn't hit my funny bone. I watch these sketches, I watch these musical bits, and it's just like, that's not funny to me. It just doesn't resonate with my humor.
I'm a hard one too, because sometimes I'm like, that just doesn't really seem funny to me. But the one bit that they did recently that I liked, and maybe I'll have to see if I'll have to show him the original and then show him the bit. There was a song that came out recently and they did their version of it and they called it like Diego and they sang about it and it was hilarious. And Ariana Grande was on there and she was singing off key and it's like Bridesmaids and it was everywhere. And that bit was pretty funny. But I will say that's probably one of the first bits in a while that made me laugh. Some other political humor makes me laugh. And sometimes just like random things they say, if that makes sense. But I respect the craft and the fact that they do this every week. They came up with the sketches. You know what I mean, Tim? It's a lot of work to put that on every week.
Oh, 100%.
So I kind of want to go see what they did.
Yeah, and people love it, and it's it's testament to the quality of what Lorne Michaels has created by having this thing that's run for 50 years and running it live every week, almost every week. But I don't know. Yeah. It's just
it has like its own culture,
this is me speaking. To me, it is just common bottom of the barrel cheap laugh humor, and it just doesn't resonate me. Like David Letterman humor has got like a very much a surrealist element to it, and I find that hilarious. And likewise, I like Vic Reeves and I like Alan Partridge, and there's something about that awkward surrealist humor that really tickles my funny bone. So SNL humor is, I don't know. I don't get it. But I mean, if you love it, enjoy it. But it's not the kind of thing that makes me laugh.
I will say, Tim, you do tend to appreciate a little bit of British humor, too. I think that plays into it, too, because there is a very sometimes dryness to some of the things I think you find funny. What surprised me was the night we were doing the I mentioned the song "What Is Love" on here. What is love? That song, and I started doing the head thing. Tim, you could put this on our Instagram. You guys, we're actually putting out pictures now. But I was doing the head thing, and I just assumed like everybody. I assumed Tim would get the reference, and Tim had no clue what I was talking about. He didn't know about the Rock Spirit guys from SNL, and to be honest, I don't even know that I saw it originally on SNL. I more saw people memeing it later. But it's kind of an American like culture thing that like when you say what is love, you do the head thing. It's like it's gotten like, you know what I mean, it ingrained culture to society, and I just assumed he knew it. He looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about this thing with the cowbell in Blue Oyster Cult, Don't Fear the Reaper. I mean, I'd heard it, people reference that, but I didn't know what it meant. And then I had to go onto YouTube and find the clip from SNL. And again, I've seen it. Yeah. But like, it's like, okay, it's not.
One doesn't really get me. And to be honest, I don't think the "What Is Love" is funny. It's more just like I just know it to like it's to the beat of the song. You know what I mean? It's just a habit more than anything else because they're like Night at the Roxbury anyway. It doesn't matter. If somebody out there knows what I'm talking about, you know I'm not crazy. But I was just shocked that day. You had no idea.
Yeah, but whereas like David Letterman throwing bowling balls off the Ed Sullivan Theatre roof and then treating it like it's the Olympics and talking about barometric pressure and wind speed and things. I mean, that's hilarious to me.
Maybe you're just a little nerdy, Tim. Maybe that's what it is.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit,
tad nerdy. All right. Give me another number, sir.
Okay, we had 53. Let's have 54.
All right, 54. I had already scrolled up, so I realize in theory that should have been easy, but it wasn't. It's Would I Lie to You by Charles and Eddie.
Yes, I remember this song. I think this is a 90s classic.
Would I lie to you? I mean, that's lying. Now, this is probably playing at CBS right now. So maybe that's not helping me in any way, Tim. But
yeah, this is a song I remember when it came out. I think I was working at Nationwide Building Society when this came out. It was a hit. It was on the charts, on the hit parade. I think they were playing it on the radio that I may be listening to Radio 2 at the time. So maybe they were playing it on Radio 2. Terry Wogan would play it in the mornings or something. I don't know. But yes, I'm very familiar with this song. A song I probably haven't listened to in a long time, but, you know, It's there.
I mean, it's not something I've like, it's definitely like I've thumbs up. You know how you can like songs on Spotify so they'll come back up. I've
Hmm.
definitely given this one a little like before, and I know it, but I can't tell you anything about Charles and Eddie. The people who sing this, did they have any other music? I have no idea.
Who honestly knows? They may be a one-hit wonder for all I know.
Hold on, let's click it. I'm gonna click it. Yeah, they're Charles and Eddie have one song that has, well, Would I Lie to You has 75 million listens. Then the album edit has just about as much. And then they have one other song, 24-7-365, which I'm guessing is a date that's in European, whatever. No, I guess it wouldn't be. That would be, oh, how many days in a year? 27, 7 days of the week, 365 hours. Never mind, everybody. It took me a minute to figure that out. That was embarrassing. I got 500,000. So I don't know what happened to them, but
Yeah,
yeah, this was
that song
92.
sounds like a Microsoft subscription package.
It took me a bit. I was like, is that a date? Oh, maybe it's a European date. No, Joy. It means like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 300. Tim just watched me, guys, until I figured it out. He's like, she'll get it in a minute. She'll get it in a minute. Just give her a second. But yeah, apparently they only had like two albums. That album came out in 1992, if you were wondering, Tim. And that was their only hit. But it was a good one.
Yeah.
And the album cover looks like the most 90s thing I've ever seen, by the way. Just FYI. If you go Google it later, you'll be like, yeah, that's pretty 90s.
Yeah, I will be checking that out after the fact.
All right, give me another song or another number, Tim.
Okay, we're going to take 88.
88. This is Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn.
That's an artist I'm not familiar with.
I'm pretty sure you've probably heard the song. It was a very big hit. She literally just says like "got to be real" about 1,000 times. It plays at CVS, Tim, so I'm fairly sure you've heard this song. But she was a one-hit wonder. She was most definitely a one-hit wonder. Got to be real. Like it says it's been played at like every movie since the beginning of time. Well, we'll pick another one, Tim. Give me another number.
Okay, let's go 89 then.
Oh, I'll be curious to see if Tim knows this one. This one, do you know anything about Montel Jordan?
No.
We'll skip it. We'll go to the next one. This is Big Yellow Taxi by Counting Crows and Vanessa Carlton, that version.
Oh, interesting. I mean, the original one is a good song. 'Cause, I mean, they paved Paradise to put up a parking lot, a measure that would actually alleviated congestion at the outskirts of Paradise. Something that Joni Mitchell fails to point out with her blinkered view of the world. But anyway, nice song. You're listening to Up with the Partridge. Aha.
I walked him right into that, guys. He was so excited to make that. I don't know why that was. That was pretty good, Tim. I'll give you that one. That one made me laugh. All right. No, I mean it's a good song. I will say it's been redone about 37,000 times. I don't know why this is the version I was listening to. They're not all that different from the next one.
Is it a live or a studio?
It's alive. I remember listening to it today. I don't even know if I've ever heard this version before, if I'm being honest. But because Vanessa Carlton's not normally on there, but I think they were doing a concert or something together. Let's see where it was from. Hold on. I'm scared I'm going to click on this and it's going to start playing the song, Tim. So just be prepared to cut this if it does.
Well, I will tell you that if you typically, when you have Zoom open, for all you people listening and want to know a technical thing about our podcast, when you have Zoom going and we're recording Zoom,
Oh, it probably stops the audio.
It's directly capturing Zoom. So if you play anything on your computer, it will not get recorded on Zoom because you don't have the audio being shared. There you
Well,
go.
I'm doing it right now.
Tips for our audience, ladies and
Well, I
gentlemen.
pressed play on it and he was correct. But yeah, it looks like it was a live version from, go to this stupid thing. Hang on. I'm getting yelled at right now. Hard Candy. It was from a concert that they did 1999. Okay. I'm not a famous concert, everybody. That just happens to be the version that was on my list today. All right. Give me another number, Tim.
Okay, we're going to go with number 5.
Number 5. This is Don't Go by Yazoo.
I do know this one. This has
Okay, good.
Alison Moyet. Alison
Yes.
Moyet is the lead singer on this. She was
Mhm.
singing with Yazoo before she had a solo career, and this is probably very early to mid '80s, I suppose. And it was sort of that
Yeah.
'80s electronic synth movement type music, and that then they often would have a very powerful female singer as part of that.
Mhm.
And then Alison Moyet, really did fit the bill.
Now, the reason this is probably on here is because this is something Charlie would definitely listen to. I mean, I know this song. It's pretty good. This was in 1982. It's from the album Upstairs at Eric's. So you were right, Tim, on the money. It's early 80s.
Hmm.
This is probably playing at a CVS. I'm not really helping my case at all. I don't know. Would you say this is playing at a CVS? I could see it playing at a CVS.
I could see it, but also I could see the solo work of Alison Moyet being played in a
At
CVS.
CVS more
I mean,
so.
she had a fantastic solo career, and I mean,
Hmm.
she's still out there getting it done, and she's had such very strong songs, even to the point where she was at Live Aid.
Yeah. I mean, and she's one of those names that, like, I feel like is vastly people, if you said it to her, they don't know who she is. For
No,
whatever reason, she seems to fly under the radar.
yeah, she is more of I think, a UK phenomenon than a US
Hmm.
phenomenon. Though, I mean, she has had hits and stuff here. But she's somebody I remember who was always seen as a pop star when I was growing up. Alison Moyer would have a new song out. Paul Young would have
Yeah.
a new song out, and they're sort of the names I remember from the '80s when I was growing up.
Well, there you go. That's your version of like Tiffany singing at the mall when you were a kid.
Yeah. The thing about you say about Tiffany. I mean, we saw the video for I think You're Alone Now, and
Yeah.
you'd see this thing where she was at the mall singing, but we didn't know that was what was happening. We thought it was just a
Yeah.
one-off thing just in the video,
Her
but
and Debbie Gibson.
yeah, but that's what they did. They went around shopping malls doing in-person appearances, just singing to backing tracks.
Britney Spears did it too. Like there are a lot of pop artists in America did. I mean, I doubt they're doing it now, of course, but for whatever
No.
reason.
Well, because nobody's going to shopping malls, and the ones that are still open have a Planet Fitness in them and a Dish call center.
So it's all shout out to Christiansburg, Virginia. But I will say what cracks me up is and there's a volleyball team that practices in ours too. Have you ever noticed that one is like an actual volleyball court that's indoors, Tim, and a real estate agent?
I go to the Christiansburg Mall, which is called Uptown Christiansburg, which is a stupid name for a shopping
When
mall.
they
if you ask
tried to
me.
rename it and rebrand it.
Yeah. I go there on average maybe once a year. There is
Yeah,
no
it's not
reason
fun
for
for
me
me.
ever to go there. It used to be not that vibrant when I first moved here, and now it is completely desolate. They had a few niche shops in there,
Mhm.
and they all seemed to close down. There was a Mexican restaurant in there, which I think
That was
closed
quite
down.
good.
Yeah, I think they closed that down. It had a
Yeah.
food court. They all went. There was a Dairy Queen in there, which just did ice cream. That closed down. And then now it's a shoe shop. It has an underwear store. I think it has a hairdresser.
Spencer's and Hot Topic are
Yeah,
still
Spencer's and
there.
Hot Topic is still in there. And there's
Claire's.
a couple of shoe shops, a place that will sell you baseball caps, a massive Planet Fitness, a massive Dish call center, and a children's play museum type
Gym
place.
thing, which actually apparently is pretty cool. There's also a color me something that you go in there and paint. But I think it's funny because when you walk in, there's a real estate office on one side of our mall. And then as you keep going, they put it, it's called like All Stars Volleyball. I guess they have a volleyball court in there, Tim, that they practice now.
I mean,
How is that even a mall?
there's a mall in Roanoke which is 35 minutes up the road,
It's pretty decent.
which Valley View is doing pretty good. The other one, I forget what it's called, on the other side of Roanoke isn't doing so good. But Valley View is doing pretty good. But said the Christiansburg NRV Mall.
Tanglewood. That's what it's called.
That's it,
Tanglewood.
yeah. The Christiansburg NRV Uptown, whatever, Funk Mall, whatever it's called. It's just
Okay, Mark Ronson.
yeah, it's a complete waste of time. So I would say for our UK listeners or any listeners in the rest of the world, if you happen to find yourself in Southwest Virginia and you would like a stellar shopping experience, don't bother going to the NRV Mall. It's terrible.
But if you want to laugh, go to the NRV Mall. I will say, I saw a funny post today. I was on the social medias, as we all do nowadays, and I was scrolling, and someone posted a thing that said, when I feel like everything's a little bit too much. I just go back to my failing hometown mall because it still looks like the 90s. And I sit here and reminisce. And they put a picture, Tim. I'm going to find it. It looked like our mall. I had to do a zig and take to make sure that we're in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It was the colors, everything. Perfect. Anyway. All right. Well, give me another number, sir.
Okay, let's go with 60.
Number 60 is incense and peppermint, strawberry alarm clock.
I am familiar with Strawberry Alarm Clock. I'm not so familiar with this song, but I have heard some of their other hits.
I like this one. You've never heard the incense and peppermint color of time? Nothing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's it. It's kind of a random one. I went through a big phase one time where I was super into like 60s psychedelic type music. I don't know why. And so it still sometimes bleed in here. I wouldn't say this one's right up there, but I listened to a lot of Strawberry Alarm Clock during that time.
Interesting.
It was because I got hooked on like books. I love reading books about like specific like periods, not necessarily like a story in this, but like kind of like I have like a lot of books on like just different time periods with like the Beatles, or like this was like a whole thing on like the 60s and 70s revolution, focusing on like hippie stuff and things like that. And I mean like details about like different places and different venues they would play, or like different things that were sparking the protests. And I went through like a whole thing where that was the books I was buying for a long time because it really interests me. And then I really fell down all the rabbit holes of the music that was in the book.
Interesting.
I did the same thing with, I talked about like Cirque du Soleil when I wrote a huge report on it. It was because I had found a book everybody reading is really important. And you don't have to do, and Tim's talked about this. Tim doesn't like to read regular books. It's not his jam, but he reads, I think, other things. I think you do read, just not specifically like long books.
No, I mean, I read a lot on the internet. I listen to a lot of podcasts, most of which are factual in nature rather than just fluff, and like NPR
like ours.
stuff.
Ours is so factual, guys. There's no fluff here.
Ours is a historic document.
And everything that comes out of my mouth that probably shouldn't, but anyway.
And I also like audiobooks, and you get those on Spotify for free. So when I'm driving back from a gig or a practice, I always listen to an audiobook, which is something I really enjoy. But some people really get into books. My wife likes reading books, but the thought of like sitting there with a 500-page book, it's not anything I really want to do.
What I was getting at, though, is there are different ways to read and keep your brain engaged. And for me, it was a lot of more of like not just like your classic like books from beginning to end, like fictional or not. It was more of like I liked learning about historical things with my books, and they were like pictures. I like the pictures, guys, to see what was happening. Though the weirdest one that like I learned some weird stuff that like in the 60s and 70s, whenever the hippie movement was happening, and I hate to say this, they were all on a lot of drugs. I learned a lot more about drug culture than I meant to when I was reading that book.
There we go. There you go. It's good to be informed, Joy.
I know what not to do. Anyway, all right, Tim, give me another song.
10. King Road 10.
Okay. Well, 10 is... Oh, Tim's going to remember this one so well. This is Alejandro by Lady Gaga.
This is one
on our list. I don't even remember.
I think it was. From the yes, because it's the one that sort of has a sort of Spanishy Latin feel about it.
It kind of felt very much like Madonna during her Spanish time.
Yeah, it almost sounds exactly like La Isla Bonita by Madonna. So yes, I'm very familiar with this song, Joy. This was one of when you gave me a little bit of homework to listen to.
I'm very proud of you for that, Tim.
Yeah, as I said before, I had high hopes for Lady Gaga. I really was expecting something different from what I got. I was from what the way you spoke of her and the kudos that she has, and what people say about how fantastic she is as a musician and a singer and a songwriter and all this kind of stuff. I was expecting something more than middle of the road pop.
Well, maybe I've got to start getting you to listen to more obscure stuff. I don't know. But to be fair, that's on here. All right. We won't spend too much more time on Lady Gaga because you guys just got a whole episode on that last week. So pick me another number, sir. I hope you're keeping up with the numbers because I'm not.
Oh, I am indeed. I'm making a note. I might put them in a spreadsheet later.
All right. What is next?
Okay. Let's go for 11, which is one more than 10.
Wow, thank you, Tim. This is Daz Band. Let it whip. I don't know why I said it so weird like that. It just like saying Daz Band out loud is a very strange thing to say. Is that how they say it? I don't know. The D-A-Z-Z band. I don't know.
I assume it's Daz Band. I've seen it written down, but
I've never had to say it out loud before.
No.
I mean, if somebody out there is an expert on Daz Band, please correct me. But this is a classic song, very 70s.
I mean, for me, Daz is a the laundry detergent is Daz. Is that a US brand?
Never heard of it. No,
no,
it is. It's not one I've used.
No, maybe it's a UK brand, which you buy a box of Daz and stick some in your washing machine.
You know, it's funny you say that though, but it always surprises you whenever. Oh, I have a question. Fairy liquid. So we know that is dish soap in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Do they rinse it off when they wash their dishes? Because there is some controversy on the internet that says that if you use fairy soap, the specific fairy soap, that you don't have to rinse your dishes off after you clean them.
I would say, on the whole, people don't rinse their dishes. So most people, I'd say most people in the UK, most people, certainly me growing up, we didn't have a dishwasher. I would say most homes in the UK do not have a dishwasher, probably from space constraints more than anything.
Well, no, they're saying when you wash your dishes by hand, Tim, that you didn't rinse it. Oh, you're getting that. Okay.
I'm coming on to this. So as a result, most people would be washing up their plates in the kitchen using dish soap, and you have a bowl, because you have a plastic bowl in the sink, because that's a UK thing to do. So if you have a plastic bowl in the sink, and then you fill it with hot water, and you squirt some fairy liquid in there, make it all frothy, and then you have a cloth or you have a little thing, and you're cleaning all your dishes off. And then you put them on a drying rack on the side of the sink, and that's it, you're done.
How does it not taste like dish soap?
I don't know. I've never really given it a thought, but maybe people do rinse them, but certainly in my vast experience of cleaning dishes, I've never done that.
Well, and the fact that we are now a very globalized world and you can talk with people anywhere at all times, there was a whole debate about it. Like people were saying in the UK, those that were using, specifically, they said if you use the fairy liquid, they didn't have to rinse it.
Yeah, fairy liquid is probably your brand leader in the world of washing up liquid.
Like our Dawn is fairy liquid.
Yeah, do they sell fairy liquid here?
No, I don't think so. I've never seen it. Ours is usually just the store brand or Dawn. That's what you normally see.
Yeah, and they had an advertising campaign where it would make your hands soft.
So Dawn does that too.
Yeah, so when you're washing up, it would make your hands nice and soft. And of course, the ads from the 70s and 80s, of course, were incredibly sexist. And then you'd have a lady's hand with like perfectly manicured nails and a big like diamond ring or something, and she was washing up the dishes,
Of course. As they do. Yeah, Dawn does that. And then they also do the campaign because they use Dawn to clean animals if they get oil on them, like during oil spills. I don't know if you've seen that or not, Tim, but that's a big thing Dawn does because it breaks up the grease. But they actually donate a lot of their Dawn liquid stuff to like animal sanctuaries and stuff. That's like one of their big campaigns.
Fantastic.
So there you go. If you come across a ducky and they have a little bit of oil and you want to get rid of them, guys, Dawn.
Yeah, or in fact, any cheap off-brand dedetergent would do exactly the same thing. Some type of
degreaser type thing in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so with that being said, they just stuck their name to it because it's a good thing to do, but also marketing. All right, we didn't say anything about Let It Whip, but I don't know anybody who doesn't know this song.
There we go.
All right, give me another number, Tim.
Okay, we're going to go with number 7.
Number 7. Let's see here. Number 7 is... Oh, here we go. I'm so excited. The Pointer Sisters. That's right on brand for me, isn't it? I think I've said that song probably a million times on this podcast.
Yeah, as featured in our Ladies of Pop episode, which is a few episodes ago.
Yes.
But yeah, Pointer Sisters, fantastic. I mean, we covered them in length on the episode, but this is such a good song.
It's a great song. And to be honest, it probably is my favorite Pointer Sister song. Yeah, I would say it is. All right, give me another number since that's a band we've talked about recently.
Okay, let's have 42.
42. 42 is That don't impress me much, Shania Twain.
Oh, again, from the Ladies of Pop episode. But I mean,
What are the
like, what? You
chances?
think you're Brad Pitt? That don't impress me much.
Oh, have you seen when she recently did it with Ryan Reynolds and she changed the word to Ryan Reynolds? Tim, have you seen the live clip of it?
No, I haven't.
She was performing, I don't know, some of it, and they were all shared it online. And she got to the line where it says, that don't, do you think you're Brad Pitt? And she changed it to, do you think you're Ryan Reynolds? Because he was right on the front line, like right in the front. Mm-hmm. And then the camera zooms to him, and he's just like, well, this is awkward. Like, he just has like an awkward, I don't know what to do reaction. And then it goes back to Shania Twain performing. Because it was like, I think, because he's like a comedian, they knew what he was going to do. But to be honest, he just kind of looked like, okay, well, I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah, Shania, that didn't impress me much.
Now, if you haven't listened to that episode, you should, because I go into detail about how the cheetah print outfit and the case she's carrying is actually just the case for the boots that she's wearing.
Yes, indeed.
I thought it was funny though that like she said everybody kept questioning her like, "Where's the cake cut? What's in it?" And she was like, "Nothing. It's just the boots I was wearing." But anyway, all right. Ask me another one, Tim, or give me another one.
Okay, number 30.
Number 30. This is What a Feeling by Irene Cara.
Oh, from the Flashdance soundtrack. Mm-hmm. Now, we lost Irene Cara very recently. I think it was a year or two ago. Very sad. I mean, this is such an iconic song. I think I've seen the film Flashdance. I think, but I've played the soundtrack album 1,000 times.
You say I've definitely seen it, but I feel like even if you haven't seen it, you know what it's about because it's been referenced in culture so much. I don't even think you'd have to see the movie to know what it's about at this point. It's about a girl who wants to be a dancer, yada, yada. And then there's a famous scene where they throw water. Now, I will say you've never watched Shrek, right? We've been through this.
No, I've been to the Shrek 4D experience at Universal Studios Hollywood, but no, I've never seen Shrek.
There's when they do like, so at the end of Shrek and like during like when DVDs were all the rage and you had like when you would play the DVD and then you have all the extra footage and like the bonus footage and just stuff, they would do like little things where all the characters from Shrek would like sing and do karaoke and different things like that, right? It was all a joke. There was one where Puss in Boots the cat, who kind of looks like Antonio Banderas, does his own version of Flashdance with What a Feeling, and he's like sitting there and he literally pulls the bucket of water down over him and everything. And for some reason, when I think of Flashdance, instead of thinking of the movie, I now think of that moment from Shrek. Because I have that DVD. That's such a very specific niche thing. And somebody out there's probably cracking up being like, yeah, that's right. But anyway, so now Shrek has forever ruined Flashdance for me, I guess is what I'm getting.
I've heard people say that the advent of streaming services have ruined the DVD extra thing because, you go onto Netflix or otherwise and you can watch the film and maybe there's a different language soundtrack on it, possibly. But like the director's commentary, the behind the scenes thing, the making of documentary, the pop video, all that stuff. You just don't get that anymore.
It's a very specific thing, but I remember even Mulan, the Disney movie, or there's this movie called Grind that I love. That's a very niche movie. It's a skateboarding movie. And the Donnas did they did a song for it. It's Too Bad About Your Girl. Well, they had I didn't know that the Donnas, so sidebar here, but it's still on music. So the Donnas were originally called the Electrocutes. I don't know if you guys knew that. Do you remember the Donnas that were available for 10 minutes, Tim, in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
So they were originally the Electrocutes. And in the movie Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart, about to go down a whole road, but just stick with me, guys. This is a rabbit hole, which is ironically Drive Me Crazy was the Britney Spears song that was used in the bonus feature of the movie with Melissa Joan Hart. And Melissa Joan Hart is in the Drive Me Crazy video. So in Drive Me Crazy, the movie, the Electrocutes they're playing one of their songs and they're trying to convince her to let them play at prom. And they're the kind of new age, not pop band, more rock kind of sound. So I had seen them in that scene, and they had made like they like referencing how cool it was. They made their own music video. They're all women playing their own instruments, that kind of thing. And they were calling them the Electrocutes. Well, I found this movie Grind. It's a skateboarding movie that's very niche. I was obsessed with it for like 5 minutes. It's hilarious. I found it at a CVS. Here we go with CVS again.
Yeah.
Literally at a CVS one day, and I bought it because it looked funny. And me and my twin sister both adored that movie. Well, the Donnas did a song, the It's Too Bad About Your Girl, that song. I don't know what it's called, but that one. And that was the opening, like the DVD extra of them skateboarding was to that song. And when I played it, I was like, and that was my first time realizing the Donnas were the Electrocutes, because I had heard them on the radio, but I hadn't seen them. And then I was like, oh, that's from Drive Me Crazy. And it all comes full circle, guys. So there you go. Not that that has anything to do with anything related to What a Feeling, but you know.
There we are.
Tim's like, that was a right. But it was just, have you ever had moments like that where it all comes full circle? You're like, oh, that's the same thing. I didn't even realize.
And then it all comes together.
There you go. Somebody out there was probably half asleep while I was giving that. Brandy might be the only one who laughs, but what's next? Give me another number, sir.
Okay, number 65.
65. All right. Oh, I'm going to skip that because you're not going to like that one. We're going to go to one that Tim will know that's right above it. Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. So write 64 down instead.
Okay.
Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, which I think we were talking about her the other day, weren't we?
Yeah, she's another artist, sort of 90s, early 2000s artist. I don't know. Is she still out there? I mean, I assume so.
I have no idea. She did that song not too long ago, that I got a pocket full of sun. That song. I don't remember if you remember. That was super annoying, to be honest. And then I think no, it is kind of an annoying song in the sense that it gets stuck in your head. But that was probably, I don't know, 10 plus years ago too. But other than that, I haven't heard anything from her. This song was everywhere for like 5 minutes though. And it has 1.3 million listens on the Spotify's.
Yeah, it was a hit, and like you say, it has that amount of listens on the Spotify. But you know, maybe she never regained that glory from that song going forward.
I mean, I don't know, but I kind of put her in like the Fiona Apple, Natasha Bedingfield, those type artists. Like they had like a group of artists that all came out and did a few songs at that time frame. And in my head, they are all associated together. I don't know if that's true. I've never like looked at the actual dates, but I grouped them as one.
you meld those artists just into one.
Fiona Apple, I'm sorry, Criminal was only so popular. You get melted in with Natasha Bedingfield. All right, give me another number, sir.
That would be number 15.
Number 15. I don't know why I feel like doing a montage. Oh my God. I have to say it, and Tim's going to make the joke, y'all. It's coming. Aha! Take on me.
Aha!
I was like, as soon as I said it, I'm walking it right into it. That's going to be on one of our new bingo cards every time Tim says aha.
Well, I can tell you about Take On Me. So in my car, I had my Skoda car that I had probably 2008 onwards. I had a Kenwood head unit. And this is in the days of when you would buy a head unit for your car, and then you could plug your iPod in and put the iPod in the glove box. And then you can control the whole thing from your head unit. And it was just like a single DIN head unit. And it, you know, that was top technology back then.
Yeah.
And when you first plugged it in, it played the first song you had in your library alphabetically.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah, and all it played was, so every time I plugged it in, it would play Aha's Take On Me. So now every time I hear that song, it just, well, for one, I was burnt out on it for the longest time, because every time you cranked the car and plugged the thing in, it started playing Take On Me. And I even read on the internet that some people would make a dummy track that's just called A in silence, so you didn't get that problem. But I plug it in and then you'd switch it to a different playlist or something. But that's what it reminds me of at this point.
My version of that is whatever. I used to burn CDs, but like I was too lazy. I had my first car when I was 16, and I was too lazy to put a new CD into. And every time I would start it in my car, it would start with the Kinks. I can never hear the Kinks again. I just can't. Like, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I also learned the lesson of don't use a CD that you like to wake you up in the morning. By the way, it was all day and all night, if anybody was wondering what the song was. But don't use the CD that you like in an old school like CD player alarm clock because it will start your mornings off with a song that you used to like. But now if you have to wake up to it every day, you don't like it anymore. I learned that with an all-time low song. When I first went to college, my freshman year in dorm, I brought an alarm clock that was like a CD one, and it would wake me up in the morning. My roommate was always gone by the time it went off, so I really didn't care because she had a few earlier morning classes, or otherwise I probably wouldn't have used it because I kind of would have found that to be rude, right? In case she didn't like the music. And I made the mistake of doing that, and for like the first, I don't know, 6 weeks of my college career, I heard All Time Low on repeat. And I was like, I never want to hear this again because I don't know about you guys, but I don't like waking up sometimes. Waking up is hard to do.
Yeah,
that was supposed to be a pun, like breaking up is hard to do. I don't know if anybody got it.
I'm very good at, well, I say very good, but I'm very agreeable to wake up in the morning. Mrs. O'Sullivan is not such a morning person, shall we say.
I have became a morning person just out of necessity because like I work a normal job. You know what I mean, Tim? And I don't stay up super late. I go to bed pretty early. I'm pretty lame in that sense, I guess. But I don't like it. If I can keep sleeping, I will. And that's all I'm going to say. So there's my piece of advice. All right, Tim, give me another number. And I don't know, how much time do we have left?
I would say we've probably got time for just that one more.
All right, give me one more number, sir. Pick a good one.
Okay, so I'm going to pick number 1 as our closeout.
I knew that was coming, and that's what I was worried about because this is the stupid song that they kept trying to get me to listen to that I don't want to hear. It's Country Girl by Luke Bryan. I don't know why that kept coming up on my Spotify today. I can't even tell you anything about Luke Bryan.
Well, the song goes, Country Girl, shake it for me, girl,
Yeah,
shake it. So
that
I'm
sounds
very
right.
familiar with this song. I used to play this in Whiskey River. I used to know all the parts of this song. I mean, I haven't played it in a long time. I could probably go bum bam bum bam 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 bum bam bum bam.
You could mill your way through it if you had to, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'd listened to it twice and I could probably remind myself of how to play it. But yes, I am very familiar with this song.
I don't know anything about Luke Bryan. He is not an artist I've ever associated, but somehow my Spotify today thought that I was going to be. I wanted to listen to that song, and as soon as it came on, I was like, "Why?" It's not a bad song. It's just not really my vibe, if that makes sense. Now, I could totally see in Southwest Virginia that would go well for a local band playing it.
Yeah, it's what they call bro country, and it's nothing that I would listen to personally, though I don't dislike it.
Yeah,
but like you say, it's Southwest Virginia local band fodder, 100%.
For me, I don't know if this makes sense or not. But I was joking about how the Nickelback and Creed concert was definitely something I would not be going to. It's kind of like the country version of that. Like that genre, I don't know, like Tim said, bro country is just not for me. No, if you love it, love it. I don't care. It's not necessarily a bad song. It was just weird that it was being sent to me. Now, I tend to let Spotify have more free reign on my music. I feel like Tim is a very predetermined, I'm going to listen to what I want to listen to type of guy.
Yeah, I use it as if I used my old digital MP3 library. I'm very deliberate, and any of the playlists I make only have songs in them that's curated by me. The only thing outside of that I listen to is Discover Weekly on a Monday, and that's become a ritual for me now. On a Monday, I'll listen to Discover Weekly, but it plays a lot of stuff that is adjacent to things I like anyway.
Fair enough. I listen to some podcasts on there. There's this one, it's called the No Name Music Cast. I listen to the one where I got Give It a Goog, TCO, which is True Crime Obsessed, and a few other ones. But that's about, and I have listened to audiobooks on there, but I generally, sometimes I'll make my cue specific, Tim. But like today, I was just floating around other people's playlists and letting it kind of pick it for me. And when that came on, I was like, no. That was like the end of the day. And I was like, okay, well, we're done here. Have a good day. Or I mean, the beginning of the day. We're done here. Have a good day. That's why. But it surprised me that I listened to over 100 songs in one day, Tim. I was surprised to hear that, but I wasn't because I didn't have any meetings or anything. And I just let music play. Just let it play all day. So anyway, if you listen to 100 songs a day, let us know. Now, some of that I can't guarantee you is all for today, but generally most of those songs were from today.
There we go.
What would you? So, Tim, I am very excited for you to do this. Do you think we will be shocked with your version, or do you think it'll all be very on brand?
I think there'll be a few things that will surprise you, but there are some things that you are probably on brand. I will probably pull the list on repeat, which is probably a better indication of the things I'm listening to, things that I'm listening to over and over.
That would be smarter than what I. You're right. I probably should have done that, but I didn't.
Well, yeah,
I just went through the last 100 songs.
Yeah, it still makes for a great episode, but I may pull 100 songs, I may pull on repeat. We will see what happens.
Well, and now Tim doesn't have to come up with his own episode. So I took some of his work out for him. All right. Well, what would you like to tell the people, Tim?
I'd like to tell the people I had a new fridge delivered today.
Whoa. Is it a fancy, like, one that talks to you and stuff?
No. I read on the internet from a fridge engineer saying that if you're going to buy a fridge, buy the largest, simplest fridge that you can find, because all those electronics are the first things that will go wrong.
Makes sense. I never quite understood why I would need a smart fridge. I just don't.
It's a solution looking for a problem. Anyhow, we bought a new fridge. Our fridge was about 8 years old. It came with the house, and the compressor was getting noisy. And more importantly, it was black, not white. And we're changing all the appliances to be white, so it looks clean and bright in the kitchen. And there you go. That's all I have to report on the domestic front. But from a everything else perspective, I'd just like to say, be kind to everybody that you meet.
I agree. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.